This is the Muscat Classic, which precedes the Tour of Oman. It's quite common for one-day races to now precede a stage race, so there's more points on offer for the teams that make the trip out, and you'll see this more and more often in cycling, and this is no different. And this is a hilly one-day race, been going for a few years, from Muscat over to Al Bustan, and we got some steep climbs on offer. The two that are repeated are Hamri Yar climb, which is very steep at the start, and then the climb of Al Jissah. In the breakaway, we had JCL Yukio and Terangani represented. Brian Cockard is here on Cofidis. Good sort of route for him. Maybe a little bit difficult if it all kicks off, but Cofidis were pacing anyway, as well as Bora Hansgrohe. They had Emil Herzog here, who was doing some pretty good training numbers in January. Decent crowds actually before this is the second or the first climb of Hamriya. They're going to do it again. This cat though does not care about this race, cruises across in front of the breakaway, just chilling, and gets out of the way. And here's that climb, starts really steep at the base, past this house. And this is where riders would start to get dropped. Fabio Jakobsen started the race, so really not a race for pure sprinters, or even like Cockard climbs very well because he's so light for a sprinter. And around this time, Herzog goes up the road. He was the junior world champion in 2022. Big talent. His first year U23 last year, I think, was marred by sickness or injury, but it was difficult to know how far up the road he was. Lotto, Destiny were helping chase as well. He catches up to the last remnant of the breakaway, Ishibashi Manabu, and then drops him on the last repetition of that Hamriya climb, where a lot of riders would start to go backwards. This is an early February race and a difficult parkour, and it was saying 2 minutes 35 with 23 Ks to go, and I was thinking this race was a wrap, so either he blew up completely or the timing was not exactly that way. You can see riders basically track standing on that climb. DSM, I think Firmenich were pushing for Warren Barguil. We have UAE here with Ulissi. He could win in a sprint. Adam Yates, Finn Fisher-Black, who was very good in the Saudi Tour. And here you can see when Intermarché try to get up the road, there's a Bora Hansgrohe rider marking as Herzog's ahead. So they can't bring him back, or no moves go on that climb. It all comes back together again with Herzog still ahead for the last climb of Al Jissah, which is longer and harder than it looks. It's categorized as like 1.1 Ks, 9%, but then there's a crest, and then it kicks up again, and there's another climb, these sort of highway climbs, and Intermarché pushing. They've got Bussato, who did well here last year on the Conti team, or the Dev team. Now he's up to World Tour level, I think. And Adam Yates, who'll be the favourite for the UAE Tour, which he'll be doing in a couple of weeks, or maybe next week after the Tour of Oman, starts to really push. So he was clearly in a domestique role, just trying to make this climb difficult for Finn Fisher-Black, or keep it together for Ulissi. And then it crests over here. We've got Amaury Van Sevenant for Quickstep, Buchmann for Bora Hansgrohe. And it's no surprise that UAE, I guess, we're going for the young Kiwi. It's good good on Yates for being willing to ride as a domestique. He's so good in these sort of races himself. But we saw on the Skyview's climb in Saudi Tour last week that where Finn Fisher-Black was the strongest on the very steep slopes there, that he's probably going to be the favourite for this race, and that's exactly what happens here. Sneaks up the inside, just squeezing through where the rock wall is seated, and then eventually kicks clear. And not like a very violent attack, more a sustained one. And then when, I think it's De Preto on Jaco Alula, it looks like he's getting across to his wheel. Fisher-Black just keeps the hammer down, and full cracks that Jaco rider on his wheel. And this is the last little kick up. This wasn't even part of the categorized climb, but they're climbing, and this is no surprise that Finn Fisher-Black can do this on a sort of 7-minute effort, or however long he won his first pro race in Sicily last year, riding away from everybody. And he's got the descent with a nice healthy gap and a bit of a disorganized chase behind. You can see that Intermarché had 4 riders in the group, RK had 3 riders, Cofidis had a few riders, at least 3, and really they didn't help too much. They're either saving for the lead out, or Intermarché wanting to sprint with multiple guys for points, and it was Buchmann that takes over after the Quickstep rider. RK rider doesn't really take over, so Big win for Fisher Black, but yeah, if you watch the Vuelta, like, it wasn't smart at the time, the car telling him to chase Vingegaard for the whole of that Beches climb, but he still did big watts, and that was the takeaway from that day, was he's got a lot of talent, and I wouldn't be surprised. We've got to see this man in Liège this year. I mean, UAE already strong enough with Pog in Liège, but I want to see him in Liège as part of that team, or even in the Italian Classics later in the year. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have daily coverage of Tour of Oman coming up this weekend, so I'll see you with those videos then. Ciao.